In this video, I'll show you the Sony RX100 Mark II that I've purchased on eBay. I've paid 120 euros, which is roughly 120 US dollars. I'm gonna show you my exact camera, but I'll also talk about in general what you should keep in mind when purchasing one on eBay and what to look out for so you can get yourself a good deal too. And then I'll also talk about the video capabilities as well as the picture capabilities. And I'll just say for 100 euros, this is a perfect camera. The quality is amazing, and just to get started or something you can take along very easily that is pretty small, it's just the perfect match that I found here. I will show you my setup for today. I have my second phone here. As you can see, I'm recording with the 14 Pro right now. If you want to see a comparison between the 14 Pro and the Sony RX2 or 3, because spoiler, I also purchased a Mark III, but more on that at the end of the video. I actually already have a bunch of pictures with this exact camera and videos too, so I'll be showing some of those also in this video. But yeah, let's get right into the actual camera. Obviously, there's going to be some scratch marks on this. When I purchased it, it looked a lot worse. And I've cleaned it. I've taken off this mount here that's supposed to give you better grip, but actually doesn't help at all. I also took off a band that you can put around your neck, because I didn't like that. There's a crack right here, and I think you could see that in the listing, but I didn't care about that. One thing that also kind of was shown there as a defect was this tab right here, this pocket. He said that it wouldn't close, and if you just put it in like this, it won't stay closed. But a simple fix to this is to simply take it out and bend it in like this. And that way it will stay in. And that's a pretty easy fix, especially with the HDMI port, which I don't use that often. However, I might add that you can use this with HDMI. I also have a capture card and HDMI mini to HDMI cable. So I tested that out, and I can make a video on that too if you would like to see that. But basically you can use this as a webcam, which I would not recommend with the Mark II. It might be a different game with the Mark III, but with the Mark II you cannot remove all overlays. So you will have some overlays that you'll have to crop out, and that kind of lets you lose a bit of quality. But it would in theory work. The buttons are kind of, you can see a bit of use on the buttons, but you can still see what they say. So that's pretty cool. Concluding this examination of looks from the outside, I would say the most noticeable wear and tear is on the camera display. This definitely shows its age. And this guy probably used it without a display protector and just used it outside, which is fine, especially for the price. You can still see everything. That's what was important for me. The display should be functioning, as well as the flashlight, because these cameras do take great pictures with flash, and I'll show that in a second too. What wasn't working with this model, and now we'll get into how you can get a good deal with these cameras, is basically the lens was stuck sometimes. I've taken it partially apart. Maybe I'll have I still have some video footage of that. I don't know, I'll have to check my hard drive. But basically what happened is that it would kind of not go out all the way. I don't know, sometimes, and sometimes it would. And that's the key. I believe if you can find yourself a model that does go out sometimes, then you're good. What I now do is I basically keep it level every time I open it and close it, which you don't have to do. It's just, I'm trying to be more careful. It doesn't take away from the experience. If I just hold it steady while opening it up. Then what I also don't do is use this zoom ring right here. You could use this to zoom in, which is pretty cool, but it's not an essential feature, especially for me, definitely not. So I'm not gonna mess around with this, but because I believe this is kind of bent a bit, and that does make, does present an issue when trying to move the lens out, in and out. Then also this ring I've added myself. I don't know, it's just had a line around, so I put it on. I thought it looked cool, but I might still be removing this, so don't mind that. It's just a sticker. What was working when I bought it was the display. You could fold it out, but now for whatever reason, you cannot go past this point or past this point, which this fold-out display, if you're just in general worried or thinking about buying this camera, is pretty limited. I mean, you could fold it out like this, and then you could take a picture of something without having to bend down, or like this if it's really high up, or like this if it's straight down, I don't know. But you can't like fold it out completely so you could see yourself. That's kind of a downside, and I think the Mark III will have that feature. But apart from that, the display still works. That's what was super important, because this does not have a viewfinder, so kind of, I mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world, because you could still try and get good pictures like this without like having the display. But having a display is definitely beneficial, especially when you're trying to focus in on specific parts of the picture. Because the autofocus is pretty good, but you still have to like kind of manually tilt or adjust. You could also use the focus tracker, and like say, you put this iPhone here, and then when you click OK, it's gonna automatically refocus on that specific point, which is also quite useful. And don't mind these pictures, it's just to demonstrate. And now this would be cool, but it doesn't work. So keep in mind, you're gonna have some features missing. For me, it's the display, can't fold out, and the ring right here, I can't use to zoom, but you can still zoom. Don't get me wrong, you can still use this regular zoom knob. Sometimes it does have a difficult time. So I do want to focus that. And don't mind these pictures, please. These are just demo pictures. I haven't aligned anything. It looks like trash. But I'll still put up some pictures so you can get a grasp of the quality that this camera has. It's pretty good, especially for, as I said, 100 euros. This is definitely a steal. It also has Wi-Fi capabilities, which I don't know, I don't like using the app, and it's just for transferring 1 or 2 pictures that's useful. But what I use mostly is like the SD card, obviously, and then also the USB connection, which is super cool. You can just plug it in, charges the camera, as well as lets you copy down the files. What I wanted to show was the flashlight right here. I'm gonna have it turn on. As you can see, it pops out, indicating that it's working. It's a nice fill flash, and it does take great pictures again. But I would say if you're not specifically planning on using this with the flash, I wouldn't even say that it would be a deal breaker to not have this flash. So the Mark III that I've purchased now, for example, does not have the flash. I've spent 150 on that, which is also a super good price. Because if you've looked at these cameras on eBay, they are super expensive, and finding them for cheap always comes with a risk, because you gotta look at these that are sold as being defective, but only have certain parts that are not working. But you always risk, because if the camera's lens is not coming out, it could be done forever, and then you're just buying a piece of metal. So watch out for that, but most of the times it can get unstuck. Now with the flash, let me take another picture. Sometimes the flash won't let me put it down, and I'll have to wait. I don't know what the issue is. Maybe it has to cool down. Maybe that's something normal. Maybe that's something that is just happening with my model, which I assume it is. But usually it does go in here. Maybe if we take more pictures, maybe if we leave it out, I don't know. Something else that's also has been an issue, but now is not anymore, is the lens. It used to not close fully, like these lids would get stuck, but you could manually just push them up. But again, this is not happening anymore. So some problems are just temporary. And if you take good care of the camera, if you don't throw it out around, 100 euros is gonna get you very far. There was this grip piece here that I did not like, so I removed it and I just put on something that doesn't look that great, but you can put on whatever, you can leave it off, but it does have 2 holes here, so I did want to put something above it to cover it. And in retrospect, I could have chosen something that looks better, like something gray or black on here. But I don't know, I like having this here. It does work. And now let's get into the video capabilities, because I've talked about enough about the actual camera. As you can see, pretty much everything works. You can switch between the modes that's available on the Sony cameras, and then you can get to the video mode. What I'll say about the video mode, let me go to the settings real quick, is you can see there's not a lot of settings. You can save as AVC-HD or MP4. I found the AVC-HD to be very annoying. You'll have to go on the internet and search up the specifics, because I can only tell you that for me, because this is a European model, it shoots in 25 frames. When in MP4 mode, there's no way to change this, but in AVC-HD, it might shoot in 30 or 60 frames. Okay, I think these are the frame rates that you can see here, 25 or 50 frames. Okay, so there is no 30 frame option and no 24 frame option. That's also why I changed my phone recording to 25 frames just to match this camera. It really doesn't make a difference. And you could edit them to both, then match, even if one is 24, but I don't know, it just seemed intuitive to keep both the same. There's stabilization, auto focus, and it does take great videos. Again, I don't want to just talk about it, I want to show you videos. So we're actually gonna take some videos and test this machine out. And yeah, that should just give you an idea of what you're getting when you're buying this camera, especially in 2026 that it is right now. And also, I'm filming this on my iPhone 14 Pro, so that might be an interesting video comparison. But the prices obviously are a little different. But then again, some of you might already have an iPhone 14 Pro or newer with the improved camera. This is something I've noticed just now. If you go ahead and, let me actually change this view. If you zoom in, that doesn't completely lose the ability, but it gets a lot worse. So keep that in mind. Like your camera that you're buying might have a completely different set of issues, but the only way to find out is to go ahead and purchase it and test for yourself. I mean, there's always, like, if you buy it below market value or at market value, you can pretty much always resell it. I mean, that's not a guarantee by me, that's just my experience. It's not like you're completely burning your money, you're actually investing it in something. I want to take a video of this and then also check out the stabilization, because I'm doing all of this handheld, so you'll kind of get an idea of what it does look like. I mean, you could obviously also get a gimbal with this. I just have the DJI Osmo, but that obviously won't work. This is not a phone. Also, to test the autofocus change, you can see it does a pretty good job, especially for being this old. In 2026, I would say this is still a viable option if you want to take your photos to the next level compared to like a different phone. You know, the main reason why I got this camera is because I wanted to kind of reduce the amount of stuff I'm doing with my phone, because I've been spending so much time on my phone, time that's essentially wasted. That led me to buy one of these phones. I can make a video on that too. Look at this phone, it's in mint condition. It's pretty much perfect. And you wanna know how much I spend on this? 40 euros. Obviously the camera is one of the biggest issues, so that's when I said, okay, then I'll just purchase a camera that is small enough that when I want to take pictures, I can take with me. And for anything else, if I want to take a picture of a document, this camera is going to suffice. I can text people, I can watch messages, I can do everything in the browser. I could, in theory, even use Instagram, TikTok, and all these apps on here. But the thing is, I don't want to. And it would be a less good experience on this phone, but that's kind of like the point. Also, I can watch YouTube on this. I do watch YouTube on this, but it's a lot worse of an experience than on the 14 Pro or 16 Pro I've had before that. So just to give you an idea, that is kind of where I'm coming from, and it's working very good. I kind of want to reduce even more what I'm using this phone for, because it's just, it does so many things that I don't need it to do, and I want to reduce that. I don't want to spend $1,200 on a phone that I'm not going to use every feature of. Even this phone is 40 euros or $40. I have so many use cases with this phone, and there's so many things it can do that I don't use, that I don't need. But that's for everybody to decide themselves. That's just where I'm coming from. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful. I have purchased the newer version of this camera, one version newer, which is still pretty old, but the RX3 or RX100 Mark III. And this will arrive in a couple of days. If you want to see that video of me reviewing it and seeing if it actually does work, because I've spent 155 euros without actually knowing whether it turns on, what the issues are, but that's just a risk I was willing to take, and we'll see. Maybe it is a good of a deal as this one was. If you don't want to miss out on that, let me know in the comments that you actually want to see that, and also hit subscribe so you get notified when I do upload that video.